Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Wolf Vlogs back with another video. And something I want to talk about this time is about me living in California. So let's be real. Hold on. Let's be real for a minute. I have family that lives in Denver, Colorado. And when since I've been living in California for a very long time, and I have to be honest, I lived in Chicago for a certain amount of time. Hated it, but I mean, I didn't hate Chicago for as as a home. I didn't hate it. What I didn't like, or I really didn't care about, was the weather. That's all I have to say. The weather wasn't that great to me, but at the same time, the weather wasn't that bad either. It was when it was cold, it was definitely cold because I lived in Chicago, Illinois. So for those of you that don't know my history or don't know anything about me so far, I have to tell you, I lived at one point or another, I lived in Chicago, Illinois, the Latino side of Chicago, Illinois, by Jungman Elementary School. I'm not sure exactly what street I lived on, but I know that I, there was Jungman Elementary School, then there was the Casa de Pueblo, then there was a McDonald's, and a Western Union, I believe, and then there was a library across the street from Casa del Pueblo. So that's where I lived, ladies and gentlemen, in Chicago, Illinois. And when I hear that I'm living in California, I have to say, living in California is pretty nice. The weather's nice, but when it gets cold, I still have to say it's very cold. And saying if I were to live in Denver, Colorado with my family, with my other relatives, or near my relatives, I would probably say I can't stand the weather. And that's where I'm just going to say, like, when it gets here like 60 or 55 degrees, or 54, or above 50 degrees, and I say, oh, it's very cold, I should be inside because it's windy. But then you go to places like Chicago, where I used to live, and it's not the same. It's like, wow, 10 30 degrees, 25 degrees, or you get to see snow, you get to see ice, snow, and blizzards and all kinds of stuff. So that's me. Like when I'm living here, because I'm used to living in California, where and sometimes it's very hot, warm weather, because everybody knows that you hear stories and you hear music and you hear people say California's where the nice weather's at. Yes, I agree with you. The weather's most of the time nice in California, especially Los Angeles, like Long Beach, Santa Monica. You get places like Redondo Beach, where it's kind of different, completely different than what you get from Long Beach and what you get from Santa Monica. But for most of the time, it's a pretty nice weather. You don't need sweaters all the time. You don't need jackets. You don't need all kinds of stuff like that. But what I'm just trying to say is that me living here in California, because I lived in Chicago, where it's been very cold, and I visited Denver, Colorado. So I I kind of have an experience of what real cold weather is about, what real cold weather is all about, not just say, oh, 55 degrees and it's frozen weather. No. No, but saying 55 degrees, it's cold. Yes, because what my body's used to is being very hot, very moist, very warm. So for the most part, it's like I said, I live in an area where it's warm. Like I say, some of you that live in Florida, you know that the weather's hot. You're not going to tell me, or those of you that live in Hawaii or been to Hawaii, you know what I'm talking about. You can't tell me your whole life you live in a hot weather, and then tomorrow you're going to tell me you go to Chicago and then you say I'm used to the cold weather. No, no. But some of you that I've read people. I've read of people online that say, "Oh, I live in. I'm used to 55. I'm in shorts and I'm with a regular shirt and at 55 degrees or 50." And to be honest, I even talk to my own relatives sometimes, and then they say, "Oh, 60 degrees? You're going to tell me it's cold? You're going to tell me 60 degrees is cold, bro? You know? Do you know that Denver, Colorado is like 30 degrees? Like, I'm, and I'm not the type of guy that's crazy, because when I went to Denver, Colorado, I took a warm bath, and then I took a warm bath in a very cold weather. It was snowing at that time. I took a warm bath and I just said, I'm not scared of the weather. I'm a man, or I'm strong enough, or I'm fierce, and I'm able to hold on to that weather. I'm able to sustain that weather. And I've been to the mountains, and I've been to places where it's like very, very, very cold. So you can't tell me I haven't been to. You can't tell me Chicago, Illinois is hot. You can't tell me Denver, Colorado's hot. So that's what I'm just trying to say. Like, it's an update. It's just letting you know that when I'm here in California, when it's hot, because right now I think it's very warm. I don't know what's the weather right now. It's like 70 degrees, I believe, but it's still pretty warm, or 60, 65, and it's okay. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. But getting to 50 degrees, then I say it's very cold. But that's because, like I said, I'm used to the weather being I'm used to the weather being warm, not cold. That's the difference. Because in the summer we get a 100 degrees, up to 100 degrees. There's people that have gotten up to 120 degrees here in California. And everybody knows Death Valley. So those of you that have been to Death Valley, you know what we're talking about. 130 degrees, or I don't know what's the hottest it's ever been in Death Valley, but I think Death Valley is like the hottest place in the United States. I believe so. So when I say I'm not used to the cold, yes, I'm definitely not used to the cold, because uh, because June, May, around May, or close to June, July, August, and even September, it's very hot, and even October sometimes it's been very hot in those times. So that's what I'm just trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, that when I say it's cold, I don't really necessarily say it's 30 degrees or it's snowing or something, because everyone knows that California is not a place that snows, other than the mountains and other than San Francisco and all those places, but not here. Not here. And for the most part, it's very warm. So like like right now where it's being recorded, it's in the morning, since the last recording got destroyed. So now, right now, it's let's see what the weather. Let's see what it says the weather is, just so I can show you guys. Okay, so let's see. So it says right now it's about 54 degrees, and it's pretty fresh. Yep, it says it's 54 degrees in the morning when when this second part is being recorded, because the first part was recorded in the evening, which was like, I would say 70 degrees, 70, which is pretty warm. 70 is already pretty warm. Uh, just saying that, right now it's like 54 degrees, so it's not really that hot, or it's just fresh that you don't need a sweater. It's just a little bit chilly, but at the same time you can just be outside without any sweater, with the shorts or pants. 54 degrees. But I'm just trying to say that when it gets cold, I'm not used to that kind of weather, because then it gets way too cold, and especially that sometimes you get the Santa Ana winds, which makes it even colder. Because what you guys probably don't know is that when it says 70 degrees, it could be 70 degrees hot, uh, or 70 degrees, and you think it's pretty cool, because it depends on if it's a moist weather or it's a dry weather, dry heat or wet heat. So that's when I say, oh, 70 degrees, it could be hot or it could be pretty basic, like normal weather.
And that's what I'm just trying to say, that for those of you that think, well, I mean, for those of you that, how do I say this? Sometimes, this is how I'm saying, sometimes when I feel cold, it's not really, like, most of you, it's not really that cold. But when I say it's cold, yes, it's cold for me, because, like I said, I've been, this is what happens. When you leave an area that's cold, and you go back to an area that's warm, then you get used to that warm, 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 warm. And then when you feel cold, you're not used to that cold anymore. That's like if I lived in if I still lived in Chicago, or I was visiting, or I lived in, or if I were to live in Denver, Colorado, then later it would be, I probably wouldn't get used to the heat anymore, because I'm used to the cold. So that's what I'm just trying to say. So that's just a little quick thing, ladies and gentlemen, that if I say it's cold to me. It may not be cold to you, that temperature, or to some of you it may be really, really cold because you're in an area that's very hot. Or vice versa. So if I say it's hot, you probably will say it's not hot yet. You need to wait till it's 110 degrees for it to be hot. So that's all I'm just trying to say, ladies and gentlemen. So for this video, I'm saying that if I say it's cold, it's not really cold to you guys, but maybe to me it's cold, because some of my viewers, I've noticed that you're from areas where it's very hot, and some of you are from areas where it's very cold. So when I say something's hot, you may say no, it's not hot yet, or if I say it's cold, then you can say no, it's not cold yet, because we have freezing temperatures like 30 degrees, or 10 degrees or 15 degrees. And I agree with you, because when I was in Chicago, it was very cold. It was snowing, frozen, and it was just pretty bad. But sometimes, what's weird about places like Chicago is that sometimes you would be outside and it's very warm. Then all of a sudden you go inside to, let's say, to the supermarket, come out, and it's snowing. Or sometimes you would be in, but that's something I have to tell you, is that that's weird, where you're inside, it's, I mean, you first are outside and it's sunny, then you're inside and you come out and it's raining. So it's like really weird weather in these areas. So like I said, I lived in Chicago, Illinois. I told you guys I lived somewhere around Jungman Elementary School, near the Casa de Pueblo supermarket. I don't know if it's still there. Haven't gone in recently, but maybe I might go someday. What else did I not mention? There was a library across the street. There was a McDonald's, and around the McDonald's there was a Western Union. Also, while I was in Chicago, I was in art school, because that was kind of like my passion, to be an artist, drawing, which I still suck, but that's for another video. So that's all I have to say, ladies and gentlemen. That when I say it's cold here in California, it may be cold for me. It may not be cold for you, those you guys that are watching me. So that's all I have to say, ladies and gentlemen. So this is Wolf Vlogs, and as always, I'll catch you guys in another video.